Hello and welcome again to another edition of the Book Knowledge Share. This is Jordan here, your host as usual. Thank you again for being here. I hope you are having a great week. I'm ready to jump into another book. As you know, if you've been following along with this channel, I share books every week. I share some tips and tricks, stuff that I've been reading, and I want to kind of download the knowledge from those books into you so that you can get more out of your life, whether it's through athletic performance or business or just being generally an awesome person. So that's what these videos are for, and I hope you are enjoying them. The book this week is another sports psychology book called The Brave Athlete, Calm the Fuck Down, by a couple of athletes themselves. One is a sports psychologist, and the other is a pretty fancy and pretty well doing athlete in herself in terms of the Xterra races. So she does a lot of off-road cycling and running and triathlon stuff, but really kind of off-road triathlon. So those are the authors. I want to tell you a little bit more about who they are in just a second, but this book is really about sports psychology. However, I think you can take some of these ideas and thoughts into everyday life, whether you are doing presentations at work or if you're looking for a job interview. Anytime you need really great performance, these books can really help you succeed. So about the authors, there are two of them. There is Dr. Simon Marshall and Leslie Patterson. Just wanted to double check that I had her last name correctly. They are a husband and wife pair. However, Dr. Simon Marshall, he trains the brains of endurance athletes and fitness enthusiasts to become happier and more mentally tough. He's a former professor of family and preventative medicine at the University of California, San Diego, and professor of exercise science at San Diego State University, where he was director of graduate program in sport and exercise psychology. So a brain guy, a brain doctor. And then Leslie Patterson is a really high performance, high-end athlete and performer in her own right, and really had gone through a lot of the tough things that you have to do to become a professional athlete. So without further ado, let me jump into the book and tell you a little bit about what I learned from this. If you have read the book, be sure to let me know what you've learned, okay? Let's share our knowledge together. And so here we go. The first thing that I got out of this is that you need success and failure. You can't just have all successes. You need to be able to cope with failure, and that's partly some of the tips and tricks that come out of this book. But in order to cope with failure, you actually have to have had some in your life. So be sure to take risks. Be sure to, don't try to just be successful all the time. Successful is great, but we learn more from our failures. So we need both success and failure in order to have a healthy mindset. Some things that, one of the challenges that a lot of athletes have is being able to overcome pain and suffering. And if you want to become a high-end athlete, you really have to learn to overcome some of those things. And there's a couple great tips in the book in terms of being able to do this. And I've applied this to some of my own practice, some of my ability to swim a little bit faster or run a little bit faster. So a couple tips. You could try and distract your brain by doing some thumb tapping like this, where you want to kind of almost like you're clicking a pen. You can try counting forward or backward. The idea is you want to distract your brain just a little bit. You don't want to distract your brain too much. You want it to still focus on the task at hand, but you want to kind of get it distracted enough so that it's not recognizing the pain. And one of the things that's pointed out in this book is that your body won't let you die. Okay, if you are literally going to die, your body will just stop exercising. It will. So being able to distract your brain from those minor pains will really help you succeed. To really make those pain sessions a little bit easier and to make it a little bit more, not enjoyable, but to make them a little bit more ability for you to cope with them, you want to find a session that you find really challenging and do that session once a week. And this sort of gives you a bit of a baseline, gives your brain and your body a chance to say, oh, so that's what a tough session feels like. I can overcome that. It gives you a little bit of confidence. And so try to do a painful session, a tough session, at least once a week, so that your body and your mind can become a little bit more accustomed to challenging itself. Some other areas in this book talks about self-worth and being able to have confidence in yourself as an overall perspective. And I think this next point really stands out a lot because of all the social media that we use these days. And it is that, stalking on Facebook or Twitter where we're trying to follow somebody, particularly somebody who we feel is better than us. When we stalk them and kind of watch them and see what they're doing and sort of engage with that without actually contributing to the society on social media, it can actually really damage our self-worth. So don't just follow people. Don't just assume that they have the perfect life because typically they're showing their best life on Facebook. Be sure to engage with them. Say, hey, that's pretty cool. Or, post your own status update as to what you're working on, what you're doing, and what's happening with you. So be sure to be doing both sides, both checking out stuff on Facebook or Twitter, but also engage with the community and your fans and whatnot as well. Lastly, as we go into the new year, thinking about goals, you want to learn to reframe your goals or rethink your goals so that it's based on your effort, not against competing. Again, this really kind of jumps into this side of we want to be able to think about things that we can control. The competition that we're competing at, we can't necessarily control that. We can't say how they're going to do or how well they're going to train or how our ability to stay ahead of them is going to succeed. And so we want to be thinking about things that we can control. We want goals that are typically process related. So one goal for me is to attend every single swim practice this year. I want to make sure that I don't miss a single practice. So instead, a bad goal might be for me to win the state championship, right? That's a goal that's dependent on how others do. I want to be thinking about my own performance and my own abilities. So reframe your goals. Think about your goals as a process orientation or as a dependent on how you do and how well you prepare yourself as opposed to comparing yourself to others. Okay, guys. So those are some tips and tricks from the book. I hope you go check it out if you are a sports enthusiast or if you're a professional athlete. Go check it out. Give it a try. Give some of those psychology things a try. I think they'll really help you out. Other than that, until next week, there is a place for you to subscribe up here. And if you want some better books to check out and want to check them out until next week, there are some videos over on this side for you to check out. All right, folks. So until next week, take care. It's Jordan signing off. Bye-bye.